Skin here with me. This ain't a diss song, but yeah, you know what it is. I'm a cheesehead, y'all niggas cheese whiz. Pittsburgh Steelers, that's nothing. That Super Bowl ring, that's nothing. Pull up in your town when you see me, you know everything. Green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow. I put it down, representing for my team. I'm in green.
Was today more of a walkthrough than a regular type practice?
Yeah, we did. We essentially had like 3 20-minute walkthrough periods, both offensively and defensively, and then a couple special teams periods, and had about a 20-minute individual period as well.
What part of you, with the football coach part of you, is that difficult? I mean, is that difficult to do when you want to, so many things you want to probably work on? How do you convince yourself not to do it the way you did it today?
I think you got to trust, you know, what you see. You got to trust the people around you, the medical staff, trust your players. That, you know, this time of the year, you're going to have some injuries, some bumps and bruises that people are fighting through. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you want your players fresh for Sunday. And so, you know, use it as more of an above the neck type day where they're focusing on the details of the plan, and I thought our guys approached it well.
Speaking of trusting what you see, what do you make of Mahomes practicing today? Are you preparing like it's going to be Matt Moore, or are you preparing like you have to prepare for Patrick Mahomes? How do you approach that as an opposing coach?
Yeah, I think you always got to prepare for the quarterback, especially when he's out there practicing. But there's so much to prepare for when you look at their offense. I mean, they've got explosive playmakers all over the field, with the obvious ones are Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce, but their 2 backs, Williams and McCoy, are electric. Their fullback, Anthony Sherman's he's a really good player. McCole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson. I mean, they got players all over the yard. And oh, by the way, you have Andy Reid, who's as good as anybody in the business at calling plays. So there's plenty to prepare for, whether he plays or not.
So Matt, you know, when you're game planning yourself for your offense, you're looking at weaknesses of the defense. So you think they're looking at what the Raiders tight ends were able to do against you on Sunday, and are you having to think, all right, we can't allow that to happen with Kelce, we got to get something fixed there? I mean, what do you think's going on there?
Yeah, you know, typically when you look at the opposition, you're always looking for holes. How can we manipulate maybe some of the rules within their coverages, and how can we get guys wide open? And to Oakland's credit, they were able to do that. Some of that was self-inflicted, you know, with mistakes made on the back end or whatever. But, yeah, there's a lot to get corrected.
Matt, there's been a bunch of trades for wide receivers in the NFL the past couple of days. Have you expressed an opinion one way or the other to Brian about whether you would want him to go after somebody, or that you're good with what you have?
Yeah, we talk. I mean, we talk on a daily basis, and we're always looking for ways to, you know, improve our football team. But I will say I do have a lot of confidence in the guys that we have here. I mean, we did okay the other day, and I know every game it's week to week, and you're only as good as your last game. And but yeah, we're exploring all options.
So did Devontae find a pair of shoes that he liked?
Yeah, I hope so.
Are you? Can I ask this so you're able to answer it? Are you? Is there a little bit of hope for you that you haven't had in past weeks, based on him at least being out there in some capacity?
Yeah, I think it could go right up to game time. To be truthful, I'm not quite sure where we're at right there with him right now.
Now, when we asked you the other day about the running back's role in the passing game, and you said you didn't stand up and announce that when he got here, but have you been pleased with how all those guys have, I know Aaron was upset about his drop, but are you pleased with how those guys have embraced what you're asking and how effective they've been? What have you kind of thought of their development?
Yeah, I think all three of those guys have really good hands, and I know Aaron Jones had that one drop, but I think he certainly made up for it last game. That was a heck of a catch on that corner route, and Danny Vitale and Jamal Williams, they've all done such a great job in our pass game, whether it's being a primary target out of the backfield or being the check down and getting yards after the catch and yards after contact. So I think they've done an excellent job. And they do a great job in pass protection too. So, yeah, I'm really pleased with all three of those guys.
You've won the 2 previous road games. Do you have to prepare any differently for crowd noise at Arrowhead?
Yeah, you better prepare for it. We'll have the music nice and loud tomorrow and on Friday as well. It's noted as the loudest stadium in the National Football League. So certainly we're going to have to handle that environment, making sure our communication's on point, especially more so on the offensive side of the ball, obviously. But, just the communication within the huddle and then being able to use our nonverbal signals to communicate as well.
Over the years, they've had done pretty well on the road in terms of dealing with noise, and Rodgers has had his own signals and things like that. Do you mess with that a lot? Do you try to incorporate what he already knows or what he feels comfortable with, or do you have your own system that you use?
No, I think, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel. I mean, he's been doing it a long time, and he does a great job. He's got great command of all that. So we kind of put that ownership on the players to making sure that the signals are correct. If they don't have a signal for something that we want, then certainly we'll come up with something. But I always like it when the players kind of take the ownership of that.
Guys, is going on the road I'm just going to use the receivers as an example. I mean, those guys the younger guys, or the lower on the depth chart guys, really contributed for you last week and even the week before that. Is it different for those guys when they go on the road, when they're out of the comfort zone of playing at home? Is there any different challenge for them to have to kind of elevate, or is that not really the case?
No, I think it just goes back to, again, the communication, making sure you hear the call in the huddle, because it is going to be pretty loud, and you got to know the plan inside and out, because there's going to be times it's going to be so loud you might only get bits and pieces. So you better know what we have in the plan out of certain formations or whatever, because if you don't hear the whole call, we still expect you to know what's going on.
You guys have moved around the Smiths quite a bit defensively, and there's some teams in the league that do that. There's some teams in the league that keep pass rushers where they are and just line up and go. From an offensive standpoint, what's the challenge of trying to go against that type of versatility that you guys have had with them?
Yeah, I think if you know where somebody's going to line up, you can kind of set your protections off of where they're going to be. And when you're moving guys around, it's hard to do that. You have to adjust, whether it's at the line of scrimmage or, have some sort of check or whatever.
Matt, I know you're not playing here this week or next week, but after the last 2 games with all the slipping, have you guys talked at all about, is there an issue with the turf, or if that's just sort of a weird anomaly? I mean, it even happened during a noon start. I thought maybe it was just a night game, but it seemed to happen a fair amount on Sunday too.
Yeah, no, the grass has been slick out there, but we'll just keep continuing to try to get the right shoes on, and our guys have to be mindful of that as well. And that's why when they go out there in warm-ups, they got to see how their footing is, and sometimes you have to alter the way you play the game.
Matt, you said there's a lot to prepare for, not just Pat Mahomes. When he's in the game, he can obviously be a game changer. Just what do you think of him as a talent?
Oh, yeah, he's ridiculous. There's not too many like him. He can make every throw from every arm angle, whether he's looking at you or looking over here. It's pretty impressive. And then you've always got to account for the off-schedule plays. I mean, because he can move, and he's athletic, and he can manipulate the pocket, and yeah, he's a rare talent.
Does he remind you of anyone of all the quarterbacks you've watched or worked with or admired? I mean, does he have any similarities, or is he just really unique?
I think he's similar to Aaron. I think that's the guy he's most similar to, because they take pride in kind of giving some no-lookers at times and just making off-platform throws and changing arm angles, and not to mention just the arm strength and accuracy.
It in. Oh yeah. Young Moolah, baby.